Good morning. Today we are going to see the next lesson, seed. We have been discussing about the sexual reproduction in plants. We have seen flower, then how the plant develops into fruit, pollination, fertilization, post-fertilization changes. The post-fertilization changes, the ovary develops into fruit, ovule develops into seed, and integument develops into seed coat. All these post-fertilization changes we have seen the previous lesson. Today we are going to see the structure of seed and germination of seed. Only when the seed germinate, the young plant will be produced. Okay, reproduction is the process of producing the young ones of the same kind. Okay, so the young one, how the young plant will be produced, that is due to germination. What should be germinate? Seed should be germinate. So first, unless we know the structure of the seed, we cannot go further for germination. Okay, so what is a seed? The ovule. After fertilization, post-fertilization changes, the ovule develops into seed. Okay, and classification of these seeds. The seeds can be classified on the basis of two things. One is on the base of cotyledon, the other one on the base of the endosperm. Cotyledon. If you soak a bean seed, you can see after soaking, if you remove the seed coat, you can see these two fleshy portion. They are cotyledons. Okay, cotyledons store food. They provide food for embryo till it starts producing starch. So on the base of the cotyledon, if the seed contains two cotyledons, the seed is said to be like dicotyledonous seed. If the seed contains only one cotyledon, it is said to be monocotyledonous seed. Okay, bean seed, example for dicot, and maize is an example for monocot. Okay, then on the base of the endosperm, the secondary nucleus, we came across secondary nucleus in the ovule, structure of the ovule. After fertilization, the secondary nucleus divides form the tissue called endosperm, nutritive tissue called endosperm. This endosperm will be present in the large content in some seed. Some seed it will be rudimentary, it will be seen very small portion. So on the basis of the endosperm, presence of endosperm, the seeds are classified into two: albuminous, exalbuminous. Albuminous seeds contain large endosperm, and exalbuminous seeds will not contain or very small quantity endosperm will be seen there. And albuminous seeds, custard apple, in dicot we take custard apple is an example for albuminous seeds. We take monocots, all the cereals, examples of albuminous seeds. Then exalbuminous, they will not be having the endosperm. Beans, dicot, bean is an example for exalbuminous. Then monocots, orchid, so the example for exalbuminous seeds. Okay, so we have seen what is seed, how the seeds are being classified on the base of the cotyledon, on the base of the endosperm. Now we will see the structure of the seed, structure of dicot seed and structure of monocot seed. First, structure of dicot seed, bean seed. If you take all the seed, the bean seed, and it is one side convex and the other side is concave. The concave portion, it has a thick part like this. It is called hilum. Okay. Then you can see a small opening. With naked eye, it will not be seen. And when you soak the seed, you can see the small opening through which the radicle and the plumule will come out. That is called microphyll. In ovule, microphyll, chelaza and microphyll are the two different poles of the ovule. Microphyll already we came across. So the microphyll is the pole, that small pole, the seed there in the hilum. Then if you soak it, if you remove the seed coat, outer seed coat will be rough and thick. The inner side of the seed coat you can see shiny, it will be shiny. You can remove it, is thin. Compared with the outer seed coat, inner seed coat is thin. The seed coat is made up of two layers. We have the outer integument and inner integument, isn't it so? So outer integument develops into outer coat testa. Then inner integument develops into inner coat tegma. Okay. So seed coat. It encloses two cotyledons. The cotyledons are attached with the embryo. The zygote will develop into embryo. The embryo has a small greenish, light greenish structure called plumule, which will develop into shoot system, and light cream or whitish structure that is called radicle. Radicle will develop into root system. Plumule will develop into shoot system. Radicle will develop into root system. The portion which connects the plumule and the axis of the cotyledon is called epicotyle. The portion which attaches the radicle with the cotyledon is called hypocotyle. So epicotyle connects plumule with embryonic axis, and radical hypocotyle fix the radical with embryonic axis. Okay, so this is the structure of the dicot seed. Next comes the monocot seed. So here monocot seed we are going to see maize, grain. Why we are calling it grain? The difference between seed and grain. Grain is nothing but a fruit, but there the fruit wall and the seed coat are fused, form a thin layer. Okay, so that sort of a fruit is called grain. So this grain, if you take rice, maize, all these, the structure will be monocot. All these will come under monocot. If you take the external structure, it will be like this. All we are seeing the sweet corn, and it has an endosperm. The endosperm of this one is called as scutellum. Scutellum contains plumule and radicle. Okay, and if you take the LS, this one is LS is the longitudinal section. LS of the paddock. The outermost layer is pericarp with testa. Testa and pericarp. Seed coat and pericarp used to form the outer plane. Okay, then it encloses a nutritious layer called aileron layer. Aileron layer. Aileron layer encloses endosperm. Endosperm is the nourishing tissue. Okay, so this will come under endospermous seed. And the major portion is occupied by endosperm. Then the remaining part is a cotyledon. Cotyledon is nothing but scutellum. Here the cotyledon is called as scutellum. The scutellum contains two regions. One is coleoptile, which covers the plumule. Shoot sheath. The plumule develops into shoot. No, it is covered by a sheath called coleoptile. It is called shoot sheath. And here coleorhiza is a root sheath which covers the radicle. Okay, coleorhiza covers the radicle, coleoptile covers the plumule. So coleoptile is shoot sheath, coleorhiza is root sheath. Okay, so with this here we have seen what is seed, how to classify the seed on the base of the cotyledons, on the base of the endosperm, structure of dicot seed and structure of monocot seed. Next we are going to see the germination of seed, how the seeds germinate. Okay. Now we have seen the structure of seed. Next, germination. The seed should germinate, then only the new plant will come. Young plant will develop. So what is germination? Before going for undergoing for germination, the seed will be in dormant period. It will not germinate. It will be in resting period. That period is called dormancy of the seed. Dormant period differ from seed to seed. Okay. So what then after dormant period, when it gets favorable condition, the seed germinates. What is germination? Taking all the factors like water, temperature, suitable temperature, oxygen, the seed develops into a young sapling, young plant. That is called germination. Okay, so development of the seed into a young plantlet is called germination. And before germination, dormant period also, it is seen as a seed, but inside that it will take oxygen and very minute percentage, very less percentage. It will utilize it, produce heat. Okay, it respire. So all these will take place inside the seed. Okay, in the dormant period. Then in the favorable condition, it germinates. And this germinates. What are the conditions for the favorable conditions? What are the favorable conditions? Conditions need water, temperature, and oxygen. When the water is available, it will imbibe the water. The seed coat bulges. Then the cotyledon will come out through the plumule and radicle will come out through the microfilm. The cotyledon bulge. Then temperature. If the temperature is suitable, only it will germinate. If the temperature is not suitable, if the temperature is too high also it will not germinate. If the temperature is too low also it will not germinate. So suitable temperature it should get. Then supply of oxygen. Of course, each and every cell should respire to get energy, and this oxygen should be supplied to each and every cell. Okay. So for the germination also they need oxygen. So all these are the conditions necessary for germination. The next types of germination. There are two types of germination on the basis of epicotyle and hypocotyle. Epicotyle, what do we see? The portion of the plumule will be attached with the cotyledon. That part is called epicotyle. The portion which connects the cotyledon and the radicle is hypocotyle. Epicotyle and hypocotyle. Now the elongation of epicotyle and hypocotyle is sometimes first it will not, both epicotyle and hypocotyle will not elongate at the time. Either epicotyle will first elongate, next hypocotyle, or hypocotyle will elongate first, then epicotyle will elongate. Okay. So how it will elongate? So the cells in this region undergo division so that it increase in length. So this type of germination, hypogeal germination and epigeal germination. Hypogeal germination, the seed remains inside the soil. This is the soil. First the hypocotyle comes. Hypogeal germination, epicotyle first elongates. Epicotyle first elongates, then only the hypocotyle grows. Okay. So slowly the hypocotyle will come out, then the cotyledons are pushed up. Okay, so the cotyledons will come out of the soil in the hypogeal germination. Epigeal germination, here in this epicotyle elongates first. Here hypocotyle elongates first. Okay, so hypocotyle elongates first. The seed remains inside the soil. Hypogeal germination, the cotyledons will be brought above the soil. Epigeal germination, the cotyledon remains in the soil. Okay, so here we are seeing green seed, how it germinates. Slowly it pushes first the hypocotyle. The epicotyle comes and produces the roots. Then only the epicotyle comes out and it pushes the cotyledons. And once the leaves are formed, the cotyledons will shrunken. Till that the cotyledons only provide food for the growing embryo. Okay. So once the leaves are formed, the photosynthesis starts. So cotyledons shrink and wither off. Okay. Then here maize is an example for this epigeal germination. Here this roots will be formed. First this rudimentary root as a radicle formed a rudimentary root. But here it is a monocot now. After that it will disintegrate and form a bunch of roots. Okay, fibrous root system. Here taproot system. Okay, so these are the two types of germination: hypogeal germination and epigeal germination. Next, one more special type of germination is seen in plants. In plants which are growing in a mangrove region, mangrove plants, Abyssinia, Rhizopora, all these are the mangrove plants you would have studied in geography, and they are seen in the mangrove forest. They will grow in the marshy land. And here, what happens when the hypocotyle will be produced when the seed is attached with the fruit is attached with the plant. Okay, the germination starts when the fruit is attached to the plant. Then slowly hypocotyl elongates. When it reaches the soil, it will develop into, it produces the plumule will develop into shoot, and the radicle will develop into root, and it produces new young plant. Okay, so this is called viviparous. The young plant is produced inside the fruit. So the development of the seed germination takes place inside the fruit itself. That type of, since the young plant is produced inside the fruit, it is called viviparous. Viviparity is giving birth the young ones, like, isn't it so? So viviparous germination. These are the different types of germination. We have seen what is germination, what are the conditions need for germination, what are the types of germination, hypogeal germination and epigeal germination, then special type of germination, viviparous germination. Next we are going to see, here we are seeing the condition necessary for germination. No, how to prove that they require water, they require temperature, they require oxygen, how to prove. For that we have to conduct some experiment. Next we are going to see the experiments. Now we have seen the different types of germination. We are going to see the difference between the epigeal germination and hypogeal germination. Epigeal germination, hypocotyl elongates first. In hypogeal germination, epicotyl elongates first. Epigeal germination, the seed, the cotyledons are brought above the soil. Hypogeal germination, the cotyledons remains under the soil. Okay, so this one is seen, it is a bean seed, germination of bean seed is example for epigeal germination. Germination of maize is an example for hypogeal germination. So this is how we can differentiate whether it is an epigeal germination or hypogeal germination. In epigeal, hypocotyl will elongates. In epigeal, epicotyl will elongates first. Then the epigeal germination, the cotyledons are brought above the soil. In hypogeal germination, cotyledons remains in the soil. Okay, how it elongates? It elongates, you know, when it will, the elongation takes place. By the cell division only it increases in length. For that, what are the conditions necessary? We have seen how to prove that these conditions are necessary. How to prove that water is necessary for germination. We have to take 2 beakers, fill it with, before filling it now. Take 2 beakers, keep some wet cotton in one beaker and another beaker dry cotton. Okay, place some soaked bean seed in both the beakers. Okay, leave it in the room temperature. After some time, we can say the seeds which are kept in the wet cotton beaker, beaker A will germinate, and beaker B, the cotton is dry, no water, so the seed will not germinate. Okay, so this shows that water is necessary for germination. The next one, both the beaker, next temperature, both the beakers we have to take wet cotton. We have to keep wet cotton in the beaker. Keep the seed, soaked seeds, and one should be kept in the refrigerator, one in the room temperature. Okay, the beaker which is kept in the refrigerator, the germination will not take place, or it will take a longer time to germinate. Whereas in the room temperature, these seeds will germinate. Okay, here both the beakers must have wet cotton. Okay, one should be kept in the refrigerator, one is in the room temperature. This shows that if they have favorable temperature only, they will germinate. Okay, the next one, oxygen is necessary for germination. We have to take 2 conical flasks and take a test tube, 2 test tubes. One test tube, fill it with water, and with the help of the thread, hang it in that conical flask. Before hanging it, we have to keep the wet cotton, bean seed, wet cotton, bean seed, both conical flask A and conical flask B. Okay, and both the conical flasks should be kept, or test tube should be kept. One test tube, conical flask in A, conical flask A, test tube should contain water. Conical flask B, test tube should contain Pyrogallic acid. This pyrogallic acid has the capacity to absorb oxygen. It will react with oxygen. It utilizes the oxygen. So we have to keep it in the room temperature. The cotton is wet. So it contains water. It is getting water from the wet cotton both, and both are kept in the room temperature. So temperature is favorable. But here the seed which are kept in the egg, conical flask A, will germinate. Whereas here the pyrogallic acid absorb all the oxygen present in the conical flask. So there will not be any oxygen. Due to the absence of oxygen, these seeds will not germinate. This shows that oxygen is necessary for germination. Okay, and with the 3 seeds at a time, we can show whether the water or oxygen and the temperature is favorable for this germination or not. First, take a beaker, take a wooden piece. In the wooden piece, 3 soaked bean seed should be fixed with a sellotape, and 1 should be in the water, 1 should be in the surface of the water, and 1 is above the surface of the water. It will not have any connection. And this should be kept in the room temperature. Okay. So this seed will not germinate, or will take longer time to germinate. This seed will germinate and produce the plant. This seed will not germinate. Why? This one is getting water, and oxygen is very less in the water. Okay. So the atmospheric oxygen is not getting. This one is getting water, oxygen, and room temperature. So it germinates. This one is not getting water, it is getting only oxygen. So it is water also is not getting, oxygen only it gets, so it will not germinate. So with this 3 seed, bean seed, we can prove that these conditions are necessary for germination. Okay, with this we are finishing 6th lesson, structure and germination of seed. Okay, we will meet in the next class. Bye.